So I've had a few people now ask me about making another lineup video with all my lineups in it, and now that Fracture and Icebox have been removed, and Lotus and Split are back, because I don't think I included Split in my last video, I am making the second version of my lineup videos. I'm gonna keep this the same as what I did in the last video, where I'm going to show, for every map, I'm going to do a basic section with a couple of basic lineups for each site, and then an advanced section where I'll show more of the wacky lineups that I've got from different spots on the map, which will also include the alt lineups. Now, I would normally put Ascent at the start of the video, but I've got more than 40 or 50 lineups on that map, so it's going to take a long time. So I'm going to save that and put it at the end of the video, and instead I'm going to start with Split. So here we go with the Split basic lineups. For the basic lineups for B, I'm just going to include one for the main plant, and then one for each of the behind the box and in front of the box if you push from mid. The one for default I will include in the advanced because it's not from attacker spawn. So for the main plant, what you want to do is come into this corner here and just aim anywhere really in this gap here between the wire and the wall, and then just do a jumping throw. This will land in the corner here, and then now for these two plant spots, you can use like lineups from the same spot but just on this side of the wall in front of you. And for behind the box, you just want to aim in between the circle and the thing on top of the roof here, but just like add about the blue line.
Placing swarm grenade.
And then for the one in front of the box, just aim same spot but just across like on the circle.
Placing swarm grenade.
And that will cover off both of those spots.
Swarm grenade out.
Now for the basic lineups at A, I'm going to show one for the default, one for behind the screen, and one for the heaven plant. So for default, you want to just come into this corner here, up on this ledge, and then just aim at the corner here
Placing
and
swarm
throw.
grenade.
This will land at default
Swarm grenade out.
on the bomb. Now for behind the screen, you want to come into the same spot, but then just move over a bit and aim your HUD line to the right of your ult in this corner here. So you'll see what I'm lining up with it there, like that, with that HUD line, and then just do a jump throw.
Grenade.
And that will land behind the screen.
Swarm grenade out.
And then for the heaven plant, you want to come once again back into the same spot, but back wedge into the corner, and then just aim at the top of the building here, on that corner.
Placing swarm grenade.
Normal throw, and that will land there.
Swarm grenade out.
So we will now move on to the advanced lineups for Split. We're going to start with the default lineup for B, which you want to come into alley if you can. This is for more like in a 1v1 situation, or like with less enemies alive, and then they come from heaven, or it even works if they flank you. You can sneak into alley, come into this corner, and you're once again aiming the HUD line to the right of your ult, up here, in this corner here, but down to the second bar, like that. Give that one a throw, and that will end default.
Swarm grenade out.
The only other lineup that I have for Split is the ult lineup, because when you ult here, it'll leave a gap backside, and although this can be sprayed a lot of the time, sometimes there'll be something that will stop you, like a smoke and make it hard, or other enemy util, and if that happens, what you can do is just come up here,
Area's clear.
up against the wall, and then just aim like in the middle of these two bars here, and do a
Placing
jump
swarm
throw.
grenade.
That will land backside, and with a combination of an ult just anywhere around here,
My ultimate is ready.
it can defend that whole
Swarm
corner.
grenade out.
And obviously it'll take effort, and that'll take a lot of damage. If they want to climb up here, they can climb up onto the box, but then that's very easy to just shoot them, and that will take a lot of damage while trying to get
Area's
up.
clear.
for the more advanced lineups on A, I've got one alt lineup and one more lineup for
Here.
default here. This is the default lineup is a very cool one that I found the other day, just randomly. And so you want to come up against this wall in line with this line here. And then for default, just aim at the top of this triangle here. This will bounce twice and then land default.
Placing swarm grenade.
It will bounce off this, off that, and then bounce to default.
Bomb grenade out.
Now the alt lineup here is going to be a lineup for there. Because when you ult here,
Initiated. My
there'll be
ultimate is
a gap
ready.
over there. So when screens are smoked, you're able to ult in this corner, maybe put like an alarm bot here or something to try to prevent like people from pushing, or so that you know people are pushing the
Area's
ult,
clear.
and then come across and lining up at the same spot. Just aim anywhere in this area really, and then just jump
Placing
through.
swarm grenade.
That will land in the corner so that with an ult like
Initiated. My
this,
ultimate is ready.
it can
Bomb
easily kill
grenade
anyone
out.
going into that corner. So yeah, that is all my lineups for Split. So now we will move on to the next map.
Area's clear.
Okay, so now we have Bind, which won't take very long because this map sucks. So for basic lineups for B, I'm just going to show one
Here.
for this spot, which is just coming in here up against this rock, a lineup that a lot of people would have seen before, and just aiming at the bottom of this cylinder
Placing
here.
swarm grenade. Swarm grenade out.
So that's the only real basic lineup for B. So now for our A ones, once again a lineup that a lot of people would have seen. For the front
Here.
of truck, just come into this corner and just aim at the gap here, just where the leaves meets the sky.
Placing swarm grenade.
And that is the lineup for the truck.
Bomb grenade out. Here.
For triple here, you want to come back here into this corner and aim just like a little bit across from this here.
Placing swarm grenade.
And that will land triple.
Bomb grenade out.
Also, for a safer lineup
Here.
for truck, if for some reason people are like pushing you in this corner, you can come up here, just missed the jump, come up here and aim like down from this until your HUD line beside your ult is like in this corner, leaves there. Like that.
Placing
Give
swarm
that
grenade.
a throw, and that will land truck.
Bomb grenade out.
Like that. So we'll now move on to the advanced lineups for this map. And starting on B, I've got a lineup that will land up here.
Here.
And this will cover like
Here.
in this corner there,
Here.
here. It'll cover the plants like up here. And then it'll also cover
Here.
inside of tube. So if you come into this corner here and see this box here, you're going to align the turret symbol up there like that.
Placing
just throw
swarm
that.
grenade.
That's going to land up the top here. And if I throw just a few more here,
Placing swarm
to show
grenade.
you,
Placing swarm grenade. Bomb
it'll
grenade
cover
out.
like this corner, this plan,
Bomb grenade out.
this corner, and you also can't be in tube really either. So it's a
Bomb
very good
grenade
lineup
out.
to use. The other lines I'm going to show here is for when you're attacking. You can use these to take sight sometimes. One that will land to
Here.
cover this, and one that will land to cover
Here.
this. These are lines that you may have seen before from someone like Cam, because he's who I learnt these ones from. Come into this corner here. For the backside one, aim like this bit orange bit here, just like a bit across, and that will land
Placing
backside.
swarm grenade.
And for the one in the cubby, just go 1, 2, 3, and aim in this third little like gap here.
Placing swarm grenade.
This one will land outside the map so they can't shoot it.
Swarm grenade out.
Yeah, like that. And then this one
Swarm
will land
grenade out.
backside. Obviously, for anyone that is playing like tournaments, which I don't know if any of you are, but that one that lands behind outside the map cannot be used. So in that case, you just want to aim one extra gap over, so just go 1, 2 instead,
Placing swarm
and
grenade.
throw like that. And this will instead land inside,
Swarm grenade out.
but may not entirely cover this corner. So it did that time, but depending on how you throw it, it might not cover the corner. So yeah, and then moving on to our advanced lineups for A. I actually don't have any. Yeah, that is all the lineups for split done. Bind done. Okay, so now on fracture, for our simple lineups for B, I'm just going to show one for dice.
Watching this.
For dice, and I'll also
Here.
include one for the safes plan. So for dice, what you want to do is just come into this corner here and aim just below this corner here, like that.
Placing swarm grenade.
And this will land on top of the box, making it a bit harder to shoot,
Swarm grenade out.
and also harder to see where the range is. And then for
Here.
the safes plant here, the one that I use a lot, I'm going to show, but there is another one that I've found recently that I'm going to show in the advanced simply because it's not one that I use too often or practice. So you want to just come into this box here. While people are still like crossing over on the site, you can just like sit behind the box or like, yeah, like around here. Then once they're on site, just come up like this, and then that's what it looks like. You're aiming in like this corner here with the HUD that comes up when you pull out your molly. The middle of that HUD on that corner there,
Placing
and
swarm
throw
grenade.
that. And that will land in there.
Swarm grenade out.
Now, for the simple lineups on A, I'm going to be honest, I don't have the energy to find lineups for this site, because it is so annoying. I do plan on trying to find one
Here.
for this plant spot, but for here I will just
Placing swarm
generally
grenade.
throw mollies on the bomb. But I have found, oh my god, why am I lagging? But I have found one lineup for down here. But what I normally do
Here.
for up here is you can come in here and just right click a molly onto that ledge there, which will hit up
Swarm
here.
grenade out.
But the one lineup that I have
Swarm grenade
for
out.
under here will cover most of this area, and the edge of the molly will be like around here.
Here.
So it'll hit people trying to defuse here, but if you plant like all the way in this corner, they'll be able to defuse from over here. So just try to plant behind here, and then just like aim the bomb towards the wall area when you're planting. And for this one, what you want to do is you want to run a marathon all the way back around here. This one you've got like no chance of being killed, as long as there's no one flanking that late into the round, which I'd be surprised if there was. And you want to just like come into the corner here, and aim your crosshair like along this thing here, just around in the middle of this, just a bit to the right, and then just jump at the same time as throwing,
Placing swarm grenade.
like that. This one will land right there
Swarm grenade
and
out.
cover this whole area here. So as you can see, people can stand about here, but chances are if the
Here.
bomb is at all over here, they won't be able to defuse it. So now moving on to the advanced lineups for this map. Obviously I've only got B site because that's all that one lineup earlier is all I've got for A. So for B, what you want to do is I've got one more lineup for dice and one more lineup
Here.
for that plant spot. And for these ones, what you want to do is you're standing in this corner here. And for dice, you want to put the line in between your larbot and turret up here. Like that. it works if you put like the middle of the line on it or the corner of the line. The corner of the line or like a little bit over like that, this will just give you a bit more room on the right hand. It'll cover more the right hand side. So like putting it on the corner
Placing
like
swarm
that.
grenade.
And you've got up there, once again,
Swarm
lands on
grenade
top.
out.
And then for the safe plant spot, you want to turn in this corner. Got a bit more hidden here, crouch if you need to. And then with this triangle here, you're once again using the pop-up, you know, hard when you put up your molly, and putting the corner of it in there.
Placing swarm grenade.
And that will end in
Swarm
there as
grenade
well.
out.
So that is all I have for fracture. Other than really, I never really practiced this, so it's very easy to screw up. But I'll see if I can show it here. But ulting in this corner, you leave a gap
Here.
over there, and you can just come here and just
Placing
throw a
swarm
molly
grenade.
like that. And I'm probably gonna miss it, but no, I actually landed it. And
Swarm grenade out.
that's a good lineup for when you ult here,
Initiated. My ultimate is ready.
because that will cover this gap there. So that is it for fracture, and we'll move on to the next map. Okay, so now we're starting to move on to the maps that actually have quite a few more lineups that can be used. So once again, I'm going to go A, B, and then C here, and we'll see how it goes with the basic lineups first. So for A, I'm just going to show one basic lineup for
Here.
default, which everyone probably would have already seen. Very basic lineup. Just come into the corner here and aim at this corner of the roof.
Placing swarm grenade.
If you want it to like go a little bit further to the
Here.
right, if you plant that spot, you can just come a bit
Placing
across
swarm
underneath
grenade.
and throw, and it'll go a bit more to the right.
Swarm grenade out.
So now for our basic lineup for B, you have one that works for the front plant, which is just to come against these boxes here, aim in this gap here, and
Placing
throw,
swarm grenade.
and that will land in front,
Swarm grenade out.
hitting this plant spot here, back here, up against the only one that doesn't have the little spike coming out of it, and aim like just underneath this little thing here, or like at the end of it, and
Placing
jump
swarm
through,
grenade.
and that will land right
Swarm
there.
grenade out.
So yeah, very good lineup for that spot as well.
Swarm grenade out.
Now moving on to our basic lineups for C, I'm going to show one for
Here.
default and one
Here.
for the more long plant. So for default, you want to just come up against this stick in the wall here, and then just aim at this like little gap here.
Placing swarm grenade.
Like that.
Swarm grenade out.
For the long plant, come over here, make sure that you have jumped up, and then aim like in the same gap.
Placing swarm grenade. Swarm grenade out.
So we're going to start with A, and my first advanced lineup here is a lineup from over where I am now. So if you come up mid and you plant on A, this one is for default.
Here.
You want to just wait yourself into this corner here, and you'll see this bulb here and the roof here. You want to aim the line in between your turret and your ult. I'll put that like that, just between the bulb and the roof.
Placing
And
swarm
throw.
grenade.
This one will end
Swarm
right there,
grenade out.
which is a very nice lineup. And now, moving on to my ult lineups for A, we have when you're attacking and you're ulting from sewers, obviously this is going to leave a gap in heaven, and this lineup can also
Initiated.
just
My
be
ultimate
used
is ready.
normally when you're attacking, because you got this gap when you're ulting, but obviously a lineup landing heaven like this can also be just very handy whenever you're just attacking the site in general. It doesn't have to be with the ult.
Area's
So what you want to
clear.
do is just come into this corner here, and you've got this little bar here. If you just think about it, a lot of room for error. So just think about the middle of it there, and the UI that pops up when you pull out your molly. Just put the corner of it in the middle like that, and then jump
Placing
through.
swarm grenade.
And that will land heaven and clear all of it.
Swarm grenade out.
Okay, and now the other ult lineup that we have for Haven here is obviously the retake molly. When you're in this corner and you're ulting like this,
My ultimate is
a
ready.
very known gap for that ult is
Go on my mark.
back here, long. So for this one, after you ult, you want to just come into this corner. I like to chuck like an alarm bot there, or if I don't have an alarm bot, I'll chuck like my second molly there,
Placing swarm grenade.
just to stop them from pushing,
Swarm grenade out.
and then throw this line up here. So the line in between your molly and your totes, and your molly and your alarm bot symbol, just goes in this corner of the window here. Like that.
Placing
and
swarm
throw.
grenade.
And that's the
grenade
lineup
out.
for that corner. With the ult. And I've said this before, but what you want to do is with these lineups, you generally want to throw them when there's about 5 or 6 seconds left on the ults. Around 6 seconds is when I throw them, because that'll make them land perfectly.
Initiated. My
That's
ultimate
my
is
rule for
ready.
most of them. Wait till about 7-6 seconds and
Placing
throw,
swarm grenade.
and this will land with good timing,
Swarm grenade out. Area's clear.
like that. Gives them no time to like run away from it, and yeah, it's just got good timing on it. So now moving on to B, I don't have any more advanced lineups for B, considering it's just in a massive building. So we'll move straight to C, and our first lineup for default
Here.
is to come up against this wooden plank, and you're aligning the tip of your turret symbol in the corner of this lamp here, like that, and jump
Placing
throw.
swarm grenade. Swarm grenade out.
The other one I have for default is from over here near B, coming into this corner, and the line to the right of your alt symbol can go really anywhere around this area. I like to either put it like on this little block here, or in the gap between these two. Either one will work fine, like that,
Placing swarm grenade.
or like that.
Placing swarm grenade.
Both work. This one is probably better though, because it
Swarm grenade out.
gives you a larger area, which that one is the one that you put it on this block here, like that.
Placing swarm grenade. Swarm grenade out. Swarm grenade out.
And now I have recently found a lineup for
Here.
back here when you're attacking. Don't know how effective it is yet, haven't really tried it, but you want to come into the same corner from earlier, and you're lining that same bit of UI beside the ult from just then along this edge of the tree right there, like that, and once again
Placing swarm grenade.
jump into the throw, and that will land back here.
Swarm
See,
grenade out.
things about this one, it's not very consistent, so it'll sometimes leave a gap
Here.
back there, but a lot of the time, even if there is a gap, it won't be big enough for someone to stand in. If you want to make sure that gap doesn't happen, just do that same lineup, but then just aim like a little bit down so you can see a bit of the tree, and that should cover that
Placing
gap a little
swarm
bit
grenade.
better.
Swarm
That.
grenade out.
Yeah, so now you've got no gap, and people are forced to pick long. Okay, so they are all my lineups for Haven, and now we will move on to Lotus. Okay, so now we have Lotus for the first time, which it's good because this map, while not having too many lineup potential because of C having a massive wall all around it, all the lineups that I have for this map are very easy to remember. So we may as well start on C. So I'm going to show one lineup for this
Here.
plant spot, and then one for
Here.
this plant spot. So starting with this corner
Here.
here, you want to run back here, and come around here, whether you're in this gap here or a bit further over, it doesn't really matter. But just come around here, and then you'll see this little corner here in the leaves. And just put your crosshair there, and
Placing
jumping
swarm
insta
grenade.
throw. This is like the only spot that can get it over the mountain, and it will end there
Swarm
at that
grenade
plant
out.
spot. Now, for this safer plant spot, what I like to do is come into this corner here. Obviously, it is a bit it's not quite as safe if you get pushed, but a lot of the time, if especially on 1v1, they're gonna be not in a position to push you anyway. So what you can see here, this little like smooth kind of circular thing here there, and you want to put your HUD line beside your ult, just on the top of it like that. So this thing here, and the line on it like that, like just on the top of it, and then same thing,
Placing
jumping
swarm
insta
grenade.
throw, and that will go over and land like that.
Swarm grenade out.
So they are the only lineups that I've got for C. So now moving on to B. So the next lineup for B, you want to come over here, up against this crack here, and then you want to just aim just to the left of this corner here, and you want to jump throw, but the throw, it's a very hard timing, but the throw's got to be like straight after you jump. It's not a jump throw, it's
Placing
not like
swarm
at the same
grenade.
time, because that will then land too far. I lied. I didn't even realize that. I always just went like
Placing
a bit
swarm
like
grenade.
that. But yeah, so it's at the same time.
Swarm
Land in
grenade
there.
out.
Obviously, a lot more. It's planted in this corner a lot more of the time. So, and there's not really any lineups you can do from over here because of this, because of the roof here and trying to get. So you can't go on in there. But one lineup that I did see from Wolf before he got hacked and stuff was to come up towards A and up against this wall here, and then aim at the top of this formation here. And this jump is the opposite. You've got to make sure you're really throwing it at the peak of your jump like this,
Placing swarm grenade.
and that will go over and land in that corner there.
Swarm grenade out.
So they are the B lineups, and now we'll move on to A. I've just realised as well that I'm not splitting this map into basic and advanced because there's not many lineups on this map anyway, and I've just got real basic ones. So that's all I'm showing here. I'm just keeping it all in one segment. So for this one, I've got one lineup for this side, one for this side, but really you can alternate it so that it lands like in the front or on top, so that it hits both anyway. So very similar to the Haven lineup. It's it's as simple as standing in the corner, which we're standing up against this thing here, and then aiming at just the corner of the roof. So aiming at the corner of the roof like this.
Placing swarm grenade.
Will land for the further side of the box, like that.
Swarm grenade out.
And then if you want to hit the closer side of the box, you can just aim like above this above the
Placing swarm
leaves there,
grenade.
and that'll land on that
Swarm
side of the
grenade
box. And then obviously if you want to get on top to hit both sides or in front of the box, you can just go a little bit over and like in between the two
Placing swarm
leaves like
grenade.
that. And that will land on top
Swarm
and you
grenade
can hit
out.
both sides. So that is all of my lineups for what's his name? Lotus. And now I think we'll move on to Pearl next. Okay, so now we have Pearl, which is the last map before the big Ascent. And a bit like Ascent, this map has once again got a lot of lineups, so I left it towards the end of the video. So we'll start with the basic ones for A. So we'll start with this plant spot here, which is the only one I'm going to be showing for the basic. I'm going to give you two options here. The first one I'm going to show is my one, where you just come up behind this box here, up against this longer area of grass here, and then you aim the line in between your ult and your turret into this corner here. Like that.
Placing swarm
And then
grenade.
throwing that will land default.
Swarm grenade out.
The other lineup is one that I got from, I think it was Wolf again, into this corner here, and then just aiming at this little crack here in the arch. If you're on, I think, low quality, I don't think I'm on low, I'm on medium. I think if you're on low quality, you actually, yeah, you can't really see that line, or you can faintly see it there, but it'll be very hard. So if you're on low quality, you might be best to use the other one that I just showed. But medium or high, you can see this line here, and just aim on that line
Placing
and
swarm
throw.
grenade.
And that will land default.
Swarm grenade out.
And now, our basic lineups for B are, I would be able to show you more, but in the more recent Pearl changes, they got rid of all of my lineups. Like, you used to be able to do this one, which I'm not going to show it, but pretty much just aiming in that corner there with the thing that pops up.
Placing
Like,
swarm
I used
grenade.
to have this lineup, and it got me so many kills to land, like, the back of screens. And then they changed the
Swarm grenade
screens,
out.
and now it doesn't really work. It leaves gaps like this. So, that's annoyed me. And then also for this plant spot here,
Here.
you can't get a good lineup for it because the one I used to have was back in the corner that's now been removed. So yeah, so the only lineup I was showing here is
Here.
the one for the back over at the box there. So for this one, just come into this corner here, and then you're aiming at the 6th tile over. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's also the 4th one from this side. 1, 2, 3, 4. Just aim at that tile and
Placing swarm
jumping
grenade.
and insta throw. And that will bounce there.
Swarm grenade out.
Okay, so moving on to the advanced lineups for A, I'm going to start with the, 2 more lineups for here and one for in the cubby here. So the first one, which is one for the default and one for this other plant, you're going to come, they're both in this corner over here. And for default,
Here.
what you want to do is you want to, when we pull out your molly, the HUD that pops up, you want to just like bring it into this corner here, and then just like bring it to the left a bit. So that's it in the corner, and then you just want to bring it to the left a bit.
Placing swarm
Throw.
grenade.
And that'll land there
Swarm
for
grenade out.
default. And then for the other plant spot, it's as simple as come into the corner, and you'll see these, all these like leaves here. Just aim in this gap here, and
Placing
throw.
swarm grenade.
And that'll land in there.
Swarm grenade out.
As you can see, it nearly hit the roof, so if you want to avoid that, it's best to just like come a bit more out from the leaves like this,
Placing swarm grenade.
and then it'll be a little bit less close and
Swarm
in the
grenade
corner.
out.
And then the final lineup for default is from in spawn, wedging yourself in here. This is what the lineup looks like. It's like that. And what I'm aiming here is you'll see the top of the like lamp here, and then this line there. You're just like in the middle of them. You're using the HUD line to the right of your ult, and that little thing that sticks up from the main line is in the middle like that. And this one you've once again got to make sure that you're throwing at the very peak of the jump like this.
Placing swarm grenade.
And this one will land default.
Swarm grenade out.
If you don't throw it right at the peak of your jump, it'll land a bit further like out here and won't quite hit default. Now, the rest of the lineups for A are all ones for like clearing sight, if you want to use it when you're like taking sight. I've got one that lands perfectly back here to clear this, and I've got really nice ones that like lands there and here, guaranteeing a kill from dugout. So starting with the one for back sight, I've made sure to use everything in the same spot as my original lineup for default, coming up against the long grass. And for backside, you want to aim the HUD line to the right of your ult, right up against the, like, right here. So you've got this square thing here, and you just want to aim at the left side of it, right in the middle, with the hard line of your ult, like that. And then just
Placing
throw
swarm
that.
grenade.
This lands perfectly backside, meaning that
Swarm
anybody
grenade out.
has to peek either side to get away from it. And then for dugout, once again, same spot, up against the grass like this. And then you're throwing two lineups here, and they're designed so that they'll land at pretty much
Here.
the same time, there and there, meaning that people have to run like all the way to secret to get out, which is just not really possible. So the first one, you've got your turret symbol, your turret, and you're putting it like right here on this pattern, like that. And then after you, this one is a like it as soon as you jump. And then what you want to do is you want to move a little bit down, so that your HUD line, once again to the right of your ult, is in this corner here. So you're throwing, which looks like that. So then you're jump throwing this one,
Placing swarm grenade.
and then throwing this one,
Placing swarm grenade.
and they will land like that, and straight after like that. And this will cover all of this area.
Swarm grenade out.
So anyone playing dugout, they have to run all the way to here before they get out of the molly. So it's pretty much a guaranteed kill, or an easy way to spray them down when they're running across. So that is my lineups for A done. And now moving on to B, we're going to start with one for the plant spot that I said is very hard to get from main. Here, I have tried to find a lot from like in this corner and like around here, but found that very hard and inconsistent and hard to remember. So because they always hit this roof, and same as my ones back here, I found ones for plant spots multiple times and then forgot them, which I think just makes them realize how hard they are to remember and how little you're going to use them. So I'm not going to show those. But one for this plant spot here is to come into this corner all the way back, if you happen to be back here, and aim at the top of this like shadow here. And then what you're going to do is you're going to jump and once again throw it right at the peak of your jump.
Placing swarm grenade.
Like that. And that will land right there,
Swarm grenade out.
hitting that plant spot. And now for this there, I did have one. I've probably forgotten it, but I think you just want to come into this corner here and aim the line in between your turret and your ult into that corner there.
Placing swarm grenade.
I will check if that works. It doesn't. It was the line. Okay. You're using the same thing to line it up, but you're aiming in this corner. Like that.
Placing swarm grenade.
Which will land there
Swarm grenade
and hit
out.
that plant spot. And then, other than that, the other lineups I've got is, like I said, I would have shown the one for screens, but that doesn't work anymore. And I did have one that lands perfectly in, like, Link right there, clearing all of that. But that was using this corner, which has now been taken away. So they've really just ruined all of the lineups here, making it really hard. But other than that, I think that is all the lineups for Pearl. Okay, so now we have the big one, Ascent. So this one's going to take a while because there's at least 40 to 50 lineups that I've got to show here. So definitely going to split this one into a basic and advanced, and we'll get started on the basic lineups for each side. So starting with B, I'm going to show a basic lineup for default and one for that plant spot there. So for these ones, what you want to do is for default, just jump up onto the fish. I think it's best to be on like the edge of the fish, but it doesn't really matter. And then just aim at either one of these two spikes. Then throwing it at the lower spike is better, but if people try to, a lot of the time people will plant like a little bit before default like that, which in that case you want to aim at the top spike. So lower spike,
Placing swarm grenade.
top
Placing
spike,
swarm grenade.
lower spike will land like that. Is weird. The lower spike will most of the time land default, but it's landed up here.
Swarm grenade out.
which still works and is better. But yeah, and then the second spike will land over here,
Swarm grenade out.
which still hits default, but also hits a bit more down this area. And then for the other plant spot, very basic. You just want to come into this side here, corner, and aim in the window like
Placing
that.
swarm grenade. Swarm grenade out.
So now we'll move on to the basic lineups for A, and I'm going to show one for front gen and one for dice. So what I use for front gen is to come over here and aim at the top of this point, but then just go like up a bit to about here.
Placing
So
swarm
that
grenade.
is, it's very easy to remember once you know how to do it. But yeah, and that will land like that.
Swarm grenade out.
Which the good thing about this is it'll hit front gen and it'll hit side gen, so it doesn't really matter where you or your teammates plant, it'll still mostly hit it. And then for dice, very easy, same spot, then just aim at the tip of this spike in the sky.
Placing swarm grenade.
And that's for
Swarm
dice.
grenade out.
So there are your basic lineups for Ascent, if that's all you were coming for. But now we've got another like 40 or 50 to go through from other weird and wacky places on the map. So while we're here on A, we'll get started with a lot more for just everywhere. I'm just gonna probably move around, show you the lineup, and then show you where it lands instead of going back and forth each time. So I don't even know where to start here. I guess I'll start from here, and I'll show you that if you aim at either the top of these lightning
Placing
bolts,
swarm grenade.
you can
Placing
clear
swarm grenade.
back gen and the back of dice
Swarm grenade out. Swarm grenade out.
when you're pushing in, and obviously you can adjust them so they'll clear a bit more. So like adjusting that back gen one, will just aim a little bit to the left,
Placing swarm grenade.
and that will land a bit more to the left,
Swarm grenade out.
doing a little bit more. And then what else we've got here is from the same spot. You can aim at the top of this lightning bolt again, but this time you're gonna just jump
Placing
and then
swarm
throw,
grenade.
and this will land heaven. It didn't land heaven. I threw it a bit too late. It's not at the same time. You've got to throw it pretty quick, like
Placing
that,
swarm grenade.
and it will land heaven like
Swarm
that.
grenade out.
Nice line up, especially for ulting here because then it traps people. And then moving back here, originally after I threw this one for default, if I wanted to do a
Swarm
rotation,
grenade
I
out.
would come back here, and then you can. I don't really use this one anymore because I've got a better one, which we'll see in a second. But you can come back here behind this box like this towards the edge, and then you'll see this spike here. When you crouch, you just come back a bit like that until you can see the top of the spike, and then
Placing
throw,
swarm grenade.
and that will also land for front gen.
Swarm grenade out.
So now slowly moving around, we'll come to mid, which is now where I go. So if I've got two mollies and I want to come all the way around to tree to then catch people off guard, I'll throw my first one from the usual spot, and then I'll come around here into this corner here. And what you're doing here is you're aiming the tip of your turret symbol into the corner of this window, like this. And this is a insta throw.
Placing swarm grenade.
Then you jump like that, landing front gen,
Swarm grenade out.
and then we keep coming, and we get all the way around to cat, which from after doing this you can either then peek from there, get an off angle, or other times I'll just originally play my post plant from here if we've pushed from mid or something, and come just up against these boxes here. And for front gen, you want to throw just above this, just above the middle of this thing here,
Placing swarm
like
grenade.
that. And then for dice, aim just below, like on this other lighter thing here, and then
Placing swarm
jumping
grenade.
insta throw, which those will land gen and dice.
Swarm grenade out. Swarm grenade out.
And then what we've got here is, while I'm here, I'll start with these ones first. And then coming here, if you're just into this corner, just anywhere really in this area, just up from this kind of thing, just kind of like that.
Placing
And then
swarm
throw,
grenade.
and that will land front gen, like that.
Swarm grenade
Landing
out.
perfectly for when people are trying to even plant. You can use this on defense to try to stop plant. I will also show now as well my newest lineups coming in this area up against the side of this arch. And this one, I've got one that land side
Here.
gen, the other side
Here.
of gen, and then
Here.
dice. So it all revolves around the UI that pops up when you pull out your molly. And then, so you've got like this, and you're predominantly going from this corner here. So throwing it in that corner will land at the far side of gen. Throwing it like this with the white symbol there on this, you can see the white diamond on that, and then that's the other side of gen, and then down to the second line is for dice. So I'll show you this one first.
Placing
That's
swarm
dice down to the second line, like that. Just in that corner like usual is
Placing swarm
the
grenade.
further side of gen. And then the white diamond on there is, I believe, the
Placing
close side
swarm
of gen,
grenade.
but I may have forgotten this one. Yeah. So this one
Swarm grenade
works
out.
good for the side of gen. This one
Swarm
works really
grenade
well for
out.
this side of gen. And then obviously the dice one.
Swarm
for
grenade out.
dice. Very good lineups. And then obviously the main one that I cannot forget on A, I'd play it every time I get my ult, and you'll see it in every single one of my videos, no matter what I upload. And this will be the ult lineups for A. A lot of people know about the one that you can throw wine when you ult, but I one time took it upon myself to find one that lands main as well, blocking off that exit. So pretty much guaranteeing kills where you ult. So I'll throw them first, and then I'll ult to show you how it works. And then, so obviously everyone knows the wine one, which is just like in this gap here, if you didn't know it. I come up against the tree, and then in this gap right there, that lands wine. But what you want to throw first is this one. So it'll be hard to learn, but once you know it, you'll know it. And if you come along this tree here, you see this little patch of like darker leaves. You've got, and then you've got this one that like sticks out a little bit. So aiming at the tip of that leaf there, and throw
Placing
that one.
swarm grenade.
And then you throw the wine
Placing
one.
swarm grenade.
This one will land main. This one will land wine. And then, if you've ulted from here,
Initiated. My ultimate is ready.
you've blocked off
Swarm
everywhere.
grenade out.
Blocked off there.
Swarm
Hitting
grenade
anyone
out.
wine. Really good. And I'll show you with the main one again.
Initiated. My ultimate is ready. Area is clear.
Like I said earlier, throw them at about 6 seconds. Except this one you want to go a bit
Placing
earlier.
swarm grenade.
8 seconds.
Placing swarm
6
grenade.
seconds. This one will land, blocking anyone off
Swarm
from running.
grenade out.
And this one
Swarm
will land
grenade
wine.
out. Area is clear. Placing swarm
And this one that
grenade.
lands there, it's good because it'll block off both sides as well.
Swarm
So even
grenade
people trying to
out.
come around here, you actually can't get through here either. So it works really well. And then, actually, I lied about the one earlier, being my most recent lineup. I've recently decided to find ones that land main at the start of the round, like that. The timing is quite hard, because you throw them before the barriers go down. And you, on defense, and you can stand in this corner. It works well if you're trying to go for like an A push on a save with your team, or something like that. You can stand in this corner, and about 2 seconds before the barriers go down, so you're about 2 seconds left on the timer, you'll start throwing these. So the first one is, for the first time in this video, you're using the HUD to the left of your molly, not beside the ult, and it's going like that, in this corner here. and that one will be a jumping insta-throw. And then you'll move, and back to using the HUD line to the right of your ult, you're putting it in on that corner there. Like that. So it's like this, jumping insta-throw, and then like this, normal throw. About 2 seconds before the barriers go down. And it'll look like this.
Placing swarm grenade. Placing swarm grenade.
Which I think I messed up the second one slightly, but... And they'll land like
Swarm
that.
grenade out.
Which at the start of the round, if the enemy team is trying to push A, they are going to have a lot of damage dealt to them. Especially if you've got like a teammate peeking like this. Just try to stop them from crossing. It'll work really well. So that... Hopefully I'm not forgetting anything. But that should be all my lineups for A. So now we will move on to the advanced lineups for B, finally. So, starting back here, one very useful tip that it can work to, if you really want to, if the enemy team has the Killjoy and you really want to diff them, just know that your molly will destroy their setup. So, a lot of the time, enemy Killjoys will have, like, say, a basic
swarm grenade.
Set up like this on lane, and a lot of people won't put their mollies back here like I do. But for a thing like this, especially like an alarm bot there,
alarm bot out.
A very easy lineup that will also hit like this corner as well, I believe, is to come back here and onto the fish again, and you're aiming your turret symbol at the bottom of this, oh my god, I'm lagging, line here, like that. And this will be a jumping insta-throw again.
Placing swarm grenade.
Like that. And that will land right there. Oh my god. So, if they have their mollies and you till here on lane, it'll get rid of all that, and even if you've planted down here, it'll also be able to hit the bomb. So a very nice lineup like this, hitting all of this area. Very powerful. And then, so keeping with the lineups for this spot here, one I originally like to use a lot is another one that's very hard to explain, but once you get it, it's very easy and quick to do. Say if you're like running from A, what I'll do is I'll just come, and as you can see I can throw that very quickly.
Swarm grenade.
But what it is you'll be, running from A, you just come kind of here, and you'll see these two, like, cracks there. And you'll pretty much come over here, doesn't really matter where you stand, just like, around here, and you'll aim in between those tips until you can't see them anymore, and you're aiming at the roof. So then this is the lineup here, and then jump and throw, and it'll land like that. Which will hit default. Which, like the one before that I did from up here to A, this is very good if you're playing A and you haven't used both your mollies in this setup. You can easily do that. So how I like to play that sometimes is I'll play here on A with my ult, getting ready to do the ult to defend A with my ult and my mollies. But if they don't come A and they go B, then it's very easy to just run over here, come over here until you can't see these, and then jump and throw. And then you still have one more to also retake, and this will hopefully delay the plan.
Swarm grenade out.
And now we'll move on to some lineups for B for when you're pushing side, just like I did with A. So starting with this one, you come up against this line here, but up against this wall, and then aim just anywhere really on this bar here.
Placing swarm grenade.
This will land stairs.
Swarm grenade out.
Stopping people from being able to hold you there as you're pushing in. And then if you come up against it like this, you can aim just on the corner here. I never really use this one, but it'll land CT. So I think the lower you aim, the further away it'll go. So So if you aim low,
Placing swarm grenade.
and then if you aim high,
Placing swarm grenade.
so if you aim low, it'll land like
Swarm
that,
grenade out.
which is very good. So you want to aim low so people can't peek you. It will stop people from being able to peek you from CT. But the back one can be very handy if you've say like ulted here.
Initiated. My ultimate is ready.
This will really stop people from being able to be
Swarm
seen
grenade
from
out.
CT. Won't do much, but it'll get a little bit of damage on people that are still trying to sit there and hold you. And then there is one for market, and I think it's from this spot as well. Aiming at this bar, aiming low,
Placing swarm grenade.
which
Swarm grenade
wrong
out.
bar because I never used this one, but I thought I'd just show you just in case. Same shot, so it's like just in between these two bars here. Aim in this general area here,
Placing swarm
and
grenade.
throw, and that will land around here.
Swarm grenade out.
And people will not be able to hold main really from market. So once again, like I said on Pearl and on A, hopefully I have not forgotten any lineups here. Chances are I've probably forgotten one, but last I checked there is about 40 there, I think. Correct me if I'm wrong, I've probably forgotten some, but actually my count of 40 might be including Brimstone and other agents and Cypher, because, yeah. So, I don't actually know how many that is, but it's a lot. So, use what you want, and this is the end of the video, so hope you got a lot of lineups from this, and remember that you can always come back to the video, and because it's bookmarked, you'll be able to come to whatever map you're on and find the lineups that you need to use, as long as you're not playing against me, because I don't want to deal with them. But, yeah, one final tip that I will show is for anyone that is trying to find lineups, the best way to find them, which all of these lineups that I have now, I didn't use this trick, because I've only like just found out about it the other day from Lowlander, which you may have seen. But what you can do is, for some reason, with Viper,
30 seconds left.
This is what I live for.
with Viper's Molly, it's the same weight as Killjoy's Molly, so it's the same lineups. But you can see on the map where it's gonna, on the mini map where it's gonna land. Like if I just aim here, you can see that it's gonna land like main if I aim right there.
Poison orb emitting.
So you can use this to find lineups for Killjoy. Like if I wanted one for like dice right now, I could stand anywhere and just kind of like aim that. Find something to line it up with. So I might use this area here. And then you've got that lineup for dice. So that's a good way to find lineups, which I've only just found out about. And just for information, I will let you know every agent that has the same weighting as Killjoy, because it seems like at this point, every time they add a new agent, their mollies and stuff always have the same rating as Killjoy. So these lineups, learning all these lineups that I've shown just get better and better because you can use them with multiple agents. And these agents are, so you've got Deadlock. His Deadlock's her net is the same weight as Killjoy Molly's. Gecko's Molly is the same as Killjoy's Molly. KO's Molly is the same. What's it called? And then also Viper's Molly is the same. So there are quite a few agents now. That's about 4 or 5 agents that all have the same weighting as Killjoy. So these lineups can be used with about 5 different agents. So even if you're not playing Killjoy, these will still be handy lineups for you. Because say with Viper, knowing these lineups, like the one for Heaven, you can very easily do this on attack, and do this lineup, for Heaven, which I showed earlier, with like an orb, and now you've got a smoke for Heaven. So just like that, you can find different ways to use these lineups with different agents that have the same weighting. But yeah, so I will see you guys in the next video, which will probably be another highlights.